Hello, my name is Oliver Glanz and I'm a professor of Old Testament at Andrews University. In this video tutorial I would like to show you how to access syntactical information in Accordance Bible software. So in order to access syntactical information you actually have to know what type of texts do have syntactical information contained. So I happen to know that my Greek New Testament, the version of the Greek New Testament that I own, does have syntactical information available. I also know that a particular Hebrew text that I'm having is having that syntactical information available as well. So let's open here a parallel. Here's the Alright, good. So in order to show the syntactical information of our Greek text, we have to add a parallel, namely a parallel that displays the Greek text with its syntactical trees. So you click here on add parallel and then you go to syntax. Under syntax you see that you have two options. You can visualize the Greek New Testament with its syntax feature or the Hebrew Bible with its syntax. Now, it could be, depending on your installation and depending on the resources that you own, that this feature is not available. So I'm assuming in this tutorial that you own the syntactical feature for both the Hebrew and the Greek text sources. So in this case we have the Nestle Aland, so let's open here the syntax tree for the Greek New Testament. Now what you see here is a syntactical display of your text. So let's keep it simple here. Our first clause, en arche en o logos. You see that en arche is perceived as an adjunct, and then en is the predicate, and then ho logos is regarded to be the subject. So we can also click here on the instant detail window in order to make this a little bit more visible. The instant detail window will namely explain you the codes of each those letters. For example, C stands for complement, A for adjunct, P for predicate. You also get more information here, an explanation of what each of those terms actually mean. Predicate, in that case the verb, and any modifier that comes with it. So in that way you can understand well the structure of your Greek clause. In this case, the predicate precedes the subject, and preceding the predicate we have actually a prepositional phrase that operates here as an adjunct. In the beginning was the word. Now the same thing is possible with your Hebrew text. When you add the syntactical display as a parallel to the Hebrew text, you have the same constellation here. So we go to add parallel, syntax, and then Hebrew text, and as you see here we now have the syntactical information of the Hebrew text visualized. You see that bara will get the P, which is our predicate. Elohim is obviously our subject, and then we have a complement that is operating actually as an object. So why is this important or interesting? The reason why you should know, if you own those resources, how to access the trees for the Greek and for the Hebrew text is for building queries, syntactical queries. So if you want to build syntactical queries, which will be shown in a different tutorial, it is really important to know how actually the database is built, so that you can mirror the structure that you're actually interested in, that you would actually like to find in a syntactical search. Now, there are different, and I would regard better, open source tools for displaying syntactical information. For the Hebrew, this would be the site Shibank. shebunk ancient-data.org, as well as the Bible Online Learner. Bible OL. Here we go. So here you can click on display text in the Bible Online Learner, choose your Hebrew database. Let's stick here with Genesis chapter 1. And then you provide it basically with the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia, but now you have these options here on the left pane to display also syntactical information. For example, show the sentences, and then you want to show the clauses that appear, and then you want to see the phrase functions, and so on and so on and so on. So in this case, you see we have for Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, Bereshit is a time phrase, bara the predicate phrase, Elohim is the subject phrase, and then et hashamayim ve'et haaretz is the object phrase. So this syntactical display is available open source for you, even if you don't have a Bible software that contains that information. The same here in shebunk, which actually has exactly the same database as it's contained in the Bible Online Learner. You go to the text, and then you can display syntactical information by just clicking on the verse number, and there you can, let's click here a couple of things away. So now what you see is you are having a complete display of your syntactical structures. Yeah, let's keep it as this one. So you see that this turquoise, light turquoise color describes the phrases, the phrase boundaries. The phrase starts here, where the gray line is put, and the phrase ends here. So this would be our time phrase. Then bara, you see the phrase starts here, it ends here. That would be a predicate phrase. Elohim, the phrase starts here and ends here. That would be your subject phrase. And then we have a long object phrase. And the phrase starts here and then it ends here. Now these phrases together, they form one clause. This is the darker turquoise color. The clause starts here and goes all the way down. And then the sentences, in this case, identical to the clause. So we have a simple sentence here. This is the same structure as it is displayed here, just in a different graphical way. So this is with regard to the Hebrew. With regard to the Greek, there also in the Bible Online Learner you have options to display the Greek text. Let's go here to the Greek, John chapter 1, and also here you see the opportunity to actually show different clause levels and information. So you see energe and hologos. Energe, that's a prepositional phrase. Then an is your verbal complement, it's your predicate, and then hologos is your subject, and this together forms one clause. Another tool that is really helpful is the open text. opentext.org, and here you can click on the New Testament, then for example here John chapter 1, and now you're provided with a very similar structure, energe and logos, and as you see we have this nice pop-up window that gives you the information about the lexical entry form, and also about some basic glosses. So these are open source tools that you can utilize in order to understand Greek or Hebrew syntax. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Bye.